Let me share something it took me a long time to fully grasp. Silence isn't the absence of power, it's the proof of it. In a world addicted to noise, reactions, and constant applause, the person who can stay quiet has already mastered half the battle. You don't need volume to make a point. You don't have to jump into every argument or respond to every critic. Sometimes the strongest move you can make is to hold your tongue and keep going. There's a calm that appears when your identity stops, depending on what others think. When you truly know yourself, the need to be noticed fades. You stop explaining, defending, and performing. Your silence isn't fear, it's focus, protected from unnecessary chaos. And not every conflict deserves your energy. Not every provocation deserves your voice. Some conversations are simply traps designed to pull you away from your purpose. There was a time I believed that being quiet meant being weak. I thought that if I didn't correct every misconception, I must be losing ground. But the reality is, it takes far more discipline to stay peaceful than to argue with people determined to misunderstand. The strong don't need to shout to be heard. Their actions become the message. Their progress, their character, their peace. These speak louder than words ever could. Silence is not just a behavior. It's a posture of trust. When you choose silence, you are saying, I trust the process. I trust that what's meant for me will unfold. I trust that justice doesn't require my panic. Sometimes the reason doors remain closed or breakthroughs seem slow is because we're still fighting battles we were never meant to enter. We're trying to control outcomes with explanations when what's needed is surrender. The universe doesn't require your arguments. It requires your faith. When Jesus stood in front of people determined to condemn him, he didn't yell, defend, or justify. He remained silent because truth doesn't need to be loud to exist. That silence wasn't weakness. It was controlled authority. It wasn't stepping back. It was standing firm. And in your own life, you'll face moments where you're misread, underestimated, or judged unfairly. Let them talk. Your silence in those moments is not emptiness. It's proof that you're rooted, steady, and unshaken. The ones who shout the most are often searching for what they lack: validation, significance, certainty. But when you're aligned with your purpose, you don't chase applause. You let your habits speak. You let your results create the noise. A tree never announces its growth. It just keeps rising. And one day, the same people who overlooked the seed will have to acknowledge the fruit. Silence isn't avoidance. It's mastery of your inner world. You must reach a place where your peace is too valuable to be affected by someone else's outburst. A place where opinions don't disrupt your path. And listen closely. When the enemy can't defeat you, he'll try to distract you. He'll use irritations, misunderstandings, petty conflicts, anything to knock you off course. But when you stay quiet, stay focused, stay above the noise, you win every single time. Don't drain yourself trying to convince people of what destiny has already established. Let them think what they choose. Let them speak however they wish. You just keep working. Keep showing up. Keep growing behind the scenes. Because the moment will come when your results will speak for you louder than any defense ever could. Stay steady. Stay intentional. Stay quiet. And watch what unfolds. There is a kind of becoming that only occurs in silence, away from the crowds, away from the pressure, away from the need to prove anything at all. We live in a culture that tells us we must constantly be visible to be valuable, constantly speaking to stay relevant. But the deepest work God does is often hidden from human eyes. That's where real transformation begins, not under bright lights, not in the crowd, but in the quiet places of your heart where no one is watching and no one is clapping. Some of the strongest seasons of your life will feel lonely, not because you've been forgotten, but because you're being set apart. And being set apart is not rejection, it's refinement. God frequently draws you away before he raises you up. He separates you, not as punishment, but as preparation, to teach you who you are without the noise, to show you how to stand whole without the approval of others. Growth demands stillness. It demands focus. And often, it demands that you walk paths no one else can walk with you. Think about a seed before it becomes anything remarkable. It must disappear into the ground, unseen and uncelebrated. It must break open in the dark before it ever reaches for the light. No one applauds that hidden breaking, but it's the foundation of everything that follows. That obscurity is not God abandoning you, it's God shaping you. And in your own journey, There will be moments when you feel buried, not because you've been dismissed, but because your roots are being strengthened for the season ahead. People around you may misunderstand the shift in you. They may say you're different, distant, or detached. Let them assume what they wish. You are not obligated to justify your transformation. Your responsibility is to guard it. When you're constructing something authentic within yourself, you don't have time to stretch yourself thin or entertain distractions. Purpose demands concentration, and destiny requires boundaries. When you're committed to where God is leading you, you must learn to welcome those quiet seasons when it feels like nothing is moving and your prayers seem unanswered. Those are the moments where God is doing His most precise work, healing what you hide, strengthening what was wounded, sharpening what was dull. You may not recognize the change yet, but you will eventually, when you begin walking into places with a calm strength, when attention no longer defines you, when love no longer has to be begged for. That is the harvest of private development. That is the power of silence. And hear this, not everyone is assigned to your next chapter. Some people belong to your history, not your destiny. And the longer you try to bring them into seasons they were never designed to enter, the longer you delay your own growth. Release them. Let them misunderstand your distance. Let them mislabel your boundaries. You owe no one access to your inner process. What you owe yourself is obedience. Obedience to the direction God is pulling you toward, even if that road is quiet, even if that path feels unfamiliar. Growth is uncomfortable. It stretches places you wanted to keep safe. It exposes parts of you you'd rather hide. But don't run from that discomfort. Don't try to mute it. Lean into the transformation. God is not shaping you to be admired. He is shaping you to be effective. And true power doesn't need to shout. True power moves with intention, speaks with clarity, and carries peace that cannot be shaken. So when you find yourself in a still season, resist the urge to escape it. Don't rush the process. Let the silence teach you. Let it carve depth into you. Let it prepare you for what's ahead. Because what God is forming in you during these unseen moments is far greater than anything applause could offer. You are being molded. You are being refined. You are being equipped for something greater than recognition. You are being equipped for purpose. Protect that purpose. Guard that peace. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not everyone should have access to your path or your plans. That isn't arrogance, it's discernment. You cannot build a life of clarity while allowing chaos to sit close. Your calling is holy, and it must be treated as such, because the wrong voices in intimate places will always lead you away from what's right. You don't need to announce every step. You don't need approval for every decision. Your journey is sacred, and it does not require an audience. The strongest turning points in your life will often unfold in absolute quiet. And one of the quickest ways to lose something sacred is to share it with someone who isn't spiritually grounded enough to handle it. Proximity doesn't equal purpose. Some people know your history but have nothing to do with your destiny, and learning that difference will save you. We live in a world obsessed with posting, proving, and publicizing. But hear me clearly. Your next step is meant to stay between you and God. Keep it hidden. Guard it. You don't need to make announcements to validate your growth. True growth becomes visible on its own. You don't need applause when you're aligned with your calling. You don't need approval when you understand your assignment. Let your actions speak. Let your integrity, your calm, your progress carry the message. Many of life's deepest disappointments come from trusting the wrong voices. You opened your heart, your dreams, your sacred space, and they sowed doubt, confusion, and insecurity. This is why discernment matters. Not to turn you cold, but to keep you wise. There's a difference between having a soft heart and handing it to people who were never meant to hold it. Some individuals were meant to be temporary, but you gave them access like they were permanent. It's time to release what no longer aligns with your growth. There is weight that comes with purpose, a spiritual responsibility not everyone can carry. If they don't have the maturity, they cannot hold the mantle. And if they don't understand the sacrifice, they won't honor the blessing. Stop looking for support from people who were never capable of carrying you. It's not their fault. They simply aren't built for your journey. And that's all right. Let them drift away with grace. God will often reduce your circle before elevation, because rising higher requires walking lighter. And sometimes the silence around you isn't emptiness. It's God clearing out distractions so His voice becomes unmistakably clear. You can't hear divine direction in constant noise. You can't grow completely while explaining yourself, defending your journey, or performing for others. There is strength in moving quietly, listening deeply, and trusting that what's meant for you doesn't require a crowd to confirm it. It's okay to change your pace. It's okay to step back. It's okay to outgrow environments and conversations. Growth naturally creates distance. Not because you think you're above anyone, but because you're stepping into who you're meant to be. You've matured. You've learned to protect your time, your energy, your inner peace, and now you're careful about who you allow into your personal space. That's not pride. That's stewardship. When God places more in your hands, He also expects you to protect it. So let them talk. Let them assume you've changed. Let them say you've become quiet. They don't know the prayers you've prayed in private. They don't understand the weight you're carrying. They don't feel the calling that keeps tugging at your spirit. You're not being distant. You're being deliberate. You're not ignoring people. You're ignoring distractions. There comes a point when guarding your peace matters more than being understood. And sometimes the most powerful response you can give is silence. Just keep walking. Keep building. Keep evolving. Because the people truly meant for your life will never demand constant access to prove your loyalty. They'll respect your space, honor your growth, and meet you at your next level if they're meant to be part of it. You don't need applause. You need courage. Courage to continue, to grow, to stay consistent. And here's what happens when you focus inward. You discover something life-changing. Peace isn't something you chase, it's something you create. So many of us spend years trying to find peace in relationships, achievements, possessions, or the opinions of others. We think if everything external finally lines up, then we'll feel settled. But real peace doesn't come from outward perfection. It comes when you decide to stop depending on people and circumstances to make you whole, and instead cultivate that calm from within. When you stop paying attention to what everyone else is doing and start pouring that energy into your own growth, everything begins to shift. There's a sharpness that settles in once comparison falls away. When you stop stacking your progress next to someone else's, you uncover a freedom you didn't even realize you were missing. You stop bending under the pressure of expectations that were never yours to carry. Instead, you start living in alignment with the life God actually designed for you. And it's a beautiful moment when you finally understand you don't need anyone's approval to rest in peace. You don't have to match their standards. You only have to honor God's standard for your own life. And that is more than enough. The moment you choose to turn inward and stop fixating on others, you begin to see how much energy was wasted on things that add nothing to your purpose. You start recognizing how many hours were spent worrying about opinions, achievements, possessions, or timelines that don't belong to you. In a world that thrives on comparison and competition, it's easy to get caught in that trap. But when you center yourself on your own growth, your own calling, your own development, you become so focused on your inner work that comparison no longer even has a place. You begin to understand that what others have, what they say, what they do, it's irrelevant. Your peace comes from knowing you're walking in what you're meant to walk in, not chasing someone else's path. There is a deep strength in recognizing that peace is an inside job. Once you learn to cultivate it within your own heart, no one, absolutely no one, can steal it. Life will test you. It will throw disappointment, loss, frustration, betrayal, and unexpected storms your way. But if your peace was built from the inside out, you won't crumble. The winds may blow, but you will stand anchored. And that kind of stability is rare today. It's a kind of peace that isn't attached to circumstances or people. It flows from identity, from knowing who you are and who you belong to. It's a peace rooted in God, not in situations. And when you carry that peace, it becomes visible in your life through clarity, confidence, joy, and the steady strength to remain unshaken. Here's the beautiful part. When you nurture that peace within, everything around you begins to shift as well. Relationships change, situations transform. Even the challenges you face start to feel different. Why? Because peace has weight. Peace has power. It changes the environment. When you're at peace internally, you stop inviting chaos into your life. You stop allowing toxicity near you. You stop chasing things that drain your spirit. Instead, you begin to draw the right people, the right opportunities, and the right doors. When inner peace becomes your priority, your outer world naturally aligns with it. The energy you cultivate on the inside begins to shape the world you experience on the outside. So why do we keep searching for peace in people or things that will never be able to provide it? Because we've been taught to believe our worth, our calm, and our identity are tied to external markers. But once you understand that peace is intentional, a choice, a discipline, a practice, you take your power back. You stop waiting for someone else to affirm you. You stop depending on situations to stabilize you. You decide that your peace comes from within, and that becomes the foundation of your strength. The world will continue pulling at you, demanding your attention, trying to shake your confidence, trying to convince you that you're not enough. But peace is still your choice. You get to decide whether you let the noise consume you or anchor yourself in something permanent. And once you choose that anchor, once you decide your peace is non-negotiable, everything changes. No one can disrupt you unless you hand them the authority to do so. That's why focusing on your growth matters. That's why tending to your inner world is essential. Let your peace reflect your faith, your maturity, your resilience, and your commitment to evolving. And as you do that, you will be amazed at how life begins to align. There is something profoundly powerful about remaining still and grounded in a world that never stops moving.